It's 48 degrees in Coma, where birds of a feather flock together without regard to the many parked cars below. This is Coma News Daily, the internet broadcast news source portal for the town of Coma. This newscast would not be possible without the generous support of Liquid Ham. Liquid Ham, the perfect way to fit the wholesome goodness of farm-fresh pig into our daily lives. As always, I'm Dr. Jimmy, taking a break from my very successful medical practice to read you the news as reported by the intrepid staff at Coma News Daily.
And I'm Dee Collins, the artist formerly known as Dr. Jimmy's wife, who is now better known as a screenwriter, children's book author, and all-around amazing Southern personality.
When did you become Southern?
As long as I've been a thespian.
I don't think you're really an actor unless you're paid to do it.
Who needs money when you're an artist?
Speaking of living off the fat of the land, this episode of Coma News Daily will take a look at the animal news from around town. And as they say in the news biz, if it bleeds and breeds, it leads. So our first story takes a gander at the dark underbelly of a humane society. 3 Coma residents fell victim this week to an increasingly violent crime wave, according to the Coma Sheriff's Office. All 3 were mugged with varying degrees of violence by a group of quote-unquote wild perpetrators, according to law enforcement. The suspects are described as average geese of medium height and wingspan, without any distinguishing birthmarks or tattoos, said Coma Sheriff Paul T. Frostnib. In 2 instances, victims had their purses ripped out of their hands by the winged assailants as they flew by. But in at least one case, a man was knocked to the ground and had his wallet taken, while the man threw it in self-defense, police said. These guys are not messing around, and yes, we are worried they are becoming increasingly peckish, Frostnib said. The sheriff's advice to increasingly terrified town residents included the following. Watch the male goose. If he sounds a warning honk, leave the area. Do not show fear. A show of fear may increase the intensity of the attack. Maintain direct eye contact. Geese interpret loss of eye contact as fear. Stay calm. Don't yell or try to hit them, or others may join the attack. Keep your chest and face pointed at the goose. Never turn your back on it. And finally, walk slowly backwards if it hisses at you and spreads its wings. Use peripheral vision to avoid tripping over obstacles. And as Sheriff Paul Frostnib said, may God not abandon us in our hour of peril.
Those geese sound serious.
Or perhaps hungry.
And I am Shane Darvish. I run the Coma Players, and I am much funnier than Jimmy or Dee.
I thought you were sick.
I was pretending.
You've always been such a provocative auteur.
I hate to interrupt this reunion, but as you theater people like to say, the show must go on. Here's some animal-related future news by Coma News Daily feature reporter Thomas Stephen John.
2 participants will suffer serious, although not life-threatening injuries in the town's annual competition to place hats on local pets and wildlife. Both injuries will entail damaged knees to local competitive hatters during the flightless bird segment of the annual Coma Hattin' contest, during which contestants try to catch and hat a selected animal running free in a 30-foot wide circular pen. The coming injuries appeared to this reporter in a peyote-fueled fever dream. Neither of the soon-to-be injured competitors believed this reporter's warnings of the imminent suffering. That's the kind of anti-science zealotry that makes people distrust the media so much, Natalie Peters said when told of her coming injury. Peters will tear the MCL, LCL, and ACL in her right knee while chasing a clipped pigeon around the fence Hattin' ring. Instead of placing a tiny bowler hat on the bird's head, Peters will be carted off the field in screaming pain. The other soon-to-be injured hatter, Jax Owen, will suffer a sprained knee while trying to slide tackle a chicken and place a small academic mortarboard on it. What, did Bob put you up to this? Owen said when a reporter told him about his looming injury. No way that skinny SOB is going to get me to drop out and forfeit the pot. Although Coma Hattin' is a charity event steeped in the town's pioneer history, illegal betting by spectators in bleachers surrounding the so-called Thunderdome is rumored to total tens of thousands of dollars each year. Betting among the illegal bookies in town will close abruptly after this article is published, because it also reports that this year's overall winner will be Mayor Dave Anderson.
Foot bucket! It's time to get some feet! How about the endless family foot bucket with 4 sides? What about a hoof flap? Have you tried our PD Potter popcorn feet? Have you tried a selection of fried sodas? It's just toe nuggets. Why does people love us so much? At the Food Bucket, it's not just fast food, it's fun food. Food Bucket!
In other animal-related news this week, we learned that everything takes a little longer at Bob's Organic, but they wouldn't have it any other way.
The Coma convenience store, formerly known as Bob's Mart, has relaunched with a remodeled and rebranded store this week. Instead of specializing in cigarettes, liquor, salty snacks, cheap toys, and leisure wear, the new store will aim to provide us a wide selection of foods and products that are 100% OTC USDA certified organic, truly raw, and free from pesticides, gluten, dairy, soy, and processed sugar. Some of the less erudite refer to this selection as mainly expensive roadkill and weeds. Instead of shoveling creature comforts to Coma's blue-collar folks, we've evolved to provide guilt-free indulgences to the more enlightened residents of our community. And it is no easy thing to be a mission-driven provider of craft premium organic products when you seek to move beyond traditional organic standards. Ever since that big study last year found that organic food isn't any healthier than conventional food, we realized we needed to raise the bar and provide only food that occurred completely naturally and without any planned human involvement. To provide locally sourced found food products, we require a network of contributing regional artisans, like Jack Owen. Owen offered us some of his annual cull of the massive deer herds around town, but we insisted on only organic, and with the prices we're paying, Owen dropped the guns and pretty much hunts only using his off-road vehicles these days. Early community benefits of the store also include a marked reduction around town of early spring weeds, for which we are paying $50 a pound. This week's specials include some stone-ground acorn butter for only $20 an ounce, pine needle beer 6-packs for $40, and geese guano spread freshly prepared and priced daily. At Bob's, you never know what surprises nature will provide next.
In sports news this week, we take a look at the fan side of baseball. After a poor start to the season, Coma fantasy baseball manager Michael Horncraft announced last night that his all-star lineup would take the field this week atop Goldwing Dragons, wielding bats crafted from the finest cerulean oak from the forest of Aragord. Those who dare to pass first base shall suffer the consequences of the old days, Horncraft said. Horncraft made the announcement after his team, the 9 Druids of West Halbin, are in last place 2 weeks into the Major League Baseball season. Horncraft said his team will feature a female warrior named Ursula the White and a goblin named Deadswog, who will play shortstop for the fantasy baseball team. Many have questioned the wisdom in inserting fictitious players into a fantasy baseball lineup. However, such a move is not unheard of. Last summer, on his way to a 6th place finish, Horncraft used a troll named Hunchmanuk as his starting catcher, saying the 8-foot-tall giant would unleash a scourge on the home plate, unseen since the days of the Varuvian Wars. Horncraft's opponents said they were not concerned with the announcement. While I applaud his efforts to put the fantasy into fantasy baseball, said Dr. Jimmy, a fellow fantasy baseball player, I'm not entirely sure how dragons and goblins who don't generate baseball stats can possibly help him win. Horncraft was considering benching Los Angeles Angels outfielder Mike Trout in favor of an elvish wizard named Stovin, but was concerned about the elf's on-base percentage. I'll track for another week before making the change, Horncraft said. I'm really hoping the Dragons will light a fire under everyone's rear this week.
This week we talked to the show's co-host, Dee, about her latest children's book, Sean Penn Eats a Rabbit. which is a whimsical tale of the popular actor's struggle to survive in the wilderness. First off, this is challenging subject matter. Dee, what made you think it was something that children were ready to tackle?
I think a lot of children think about how celebrities would eat wild animals if they were lost in the woods. How would they prepare the meat? Would they use utensils? Sean Penn Eats a Rabbit answers all of these questions.
As someone who has completed nearly 100 unsold screenplays and self-published more than 15 children's books, do you still draw on personal experiences all these years later for your art?
This book is very personal to me because it was inspired by my own experience of being lost in the woods for 2 hours last summer with only a sleeve of fig Newtons to eat. I was terrified, Jimmy, and I realized that a lot of children get lost in the woods, so I think this book can also be a survival guide for them. They don't have to be scared about going hungry. They can just find a rabbit and eat it.
Now, why select the Academy Award-winning star of Mystic River and Milk as your protagonist?
First of all, I am in awe of Sean Penn as an artist. And secondly, he is obviously one of the few professional actors working today that could capture and eat a raw rabbit if necessary.
The book is Sean Penn Eats a Rabbit. Thank you for sharing the story behind the story, Dee.
And now for an excerpt from the Coma News Daily Classifieds. Offer, free to a good home. I have a young pet scorpion I just purchased a couple weeks ago because my pet spider died. I thought I would like to try something different after having had a spider for many years. I now have changed my mind and would like to get a new spider, but first have to find a new home for the scorpion. He is free of charge to a good home. However, you only get the scorpion in a little clear travel bucket to transport him in. You must have an existing habitat, but you do not need to keep calling him Poncho. However, if you do rename him, I ask you give him a male name so as not to confuse him. I should also note that I know nothing about scorpion biology. Poncho may be female and pregnant, so consider this fair warning. Call or email if interested. Thanks. Offer drugs. Offering 1 box of unopened suppositories if anyone needs them. If you don't know what a suppository is, please look it up.
Mule season's here. Bring your carcass into Jack's Used Cars and get half off any new used car. That's Jack's Used Cars, where a great deal is guaranteed or you get free beef jerky and stuff. Come to Jack's. And now for some helpful tips from Coma News Daily intern Stan Bargemeyer.
How to anything. Build your own bear plane. President Woodrow Wilson once famously said, "The man who successfully trains bears to serve as aircraft will be a rich man indeed." Since Wilson said those words, no one has figured out how to create the first commercial airline utilizing bears. Until now. Follow the simple steps below to create your own bear plane and prepare to reap the financial rewards. Step 1. You will need to assemble the following items. A bear, obviously, a suit of armor, a Thompson machine gun, and bit o' honey candy. Step 2. The next step is likely the most challenging. You must train your bear to accept both a heavy set of airplane wings and passengers. This training will take time. This is the part that will require the suit of armor and the machine gun. The bit of honey is a reward for your bear during the training process. All bears love honey. Next, you want to somehow attach the airplane wings to your bear, but be careful. Step 3. You're all set. You can now earn hundreds of dollars from consumers eager for an alternative to standard airline transportation. Good luck.
And now here's an update from Coma News Daily columnist Sadie Cracker.
It's karaoke night at Bear's Biker Bar, and if that sounds like pressure, then you don't know Blarney. The St. Patrick's Day themed event primarily consists of replacing regular brown beer with green beer, drinking it faster, and not caring that your alcohol dry throat can carry a tune. Tonight's theme is female ballads, which are sung by drunk bikers with large beards. Charlie, the Coma librarian, is on stage yelling RESPECT, find out what it means to me. The tune is slightly off and jarring, and after a couple of verses, the ballad has moved toward Danny Boy and what's calling him. My father, Stan, is sitting next to me. Today he went to leave for his internship with Coma News Daily without his pants. He forgets sometimes. After Mom passed away, I moved back to town to help him with these things. It's not so bad yet that I need to be with him every day. Once he starts to forget the underwear, he'll have to move in with me, and then I'll be dressing two of my boys and my father. Just a little bit, sock it to me, Charlie sings as he spins and spins, all tattooed and light, like a heavy metal ballerina. Dad and Bear, the owner of this bar, having a discussion about failings. My hip won't move until 8:30 in the morning, Dad said. My elbow hurts all the time now, Bear said. My back is so sore I have to sleep on a heating pad, they both said. And I shift uncomfortably on my bar stool because I'm wearing the hellish Spanx. The support undergarments are so constricting that I can't eat during the day. I'm not sure why I need them or what I'm pretending to hold in rather than let go. Not sure why I'm wearing Spanx under jeans. I'm not at a fashion show or wearing an evening gown. No one here even sees me. They're either drunk or caught up in their own failings. What I do know with increasing certainty is that I can't breathe. Not helping matters is that on stage Charlie has switched to singing Breathe by Faith Hill at the top of his lungs. Nature's call seals the deal. I take off through the door that says men, women, whatever makes you happy, and face the widely dreaded Spanx removal. Maybe the problem is me. I keep telling myself the Spanx are the problem, but they're just a choice I made. There's a place on the bathroom door where Michael wrote our names. Etched there from a bathroom makeout session 15 years ago is Michael and Sadie forever. And we were forever before he got sick and died. The battle to free my body and bladder makes it painfully obvious that the Spanx are not going back on. So I let go. The Spanx go in the trash can. And now Charlie is singing Sheryl Crow's Strong Enough. I go and sit beside my dad. I give him a hug mid-sentence as he tells me about the mole he recently had removed that looked a lot like Billy Joel. How are you feeling, Sadie? He said. Weightless. And I quietly sing along with Charlie.
And finally, here's Today in Coma history. Used by the first settlers of the town of Coma, the shrimp axe was a popular tool because of the abundance of shrimp and the overall ineffectiveness of the device. The unorthodox tool consisted of a jumbo shrimp attached to the end of a large wooden stick. The tool's popularity waned over time because many found it impossible to use to cut trees down or to split wood. It wasn't uncommon for people to eat the shrimp, which made it even less effective in some cases.
Did you know? Settlers who rely on the shrimp axe to cut trees and logs to build their home usually lived in caves. Did you know?
Well, that's all the news in Coma this week.
That flew by.
Like a larcenous bird?
No, Jimmy, like a flying bird.
Even better. Until next time, Coma, be good, beware, and be newsworthy.